We are live. Good morning. I'm Jannica Morton.
Emily Francis.
And Abe is here somewhere. We just don't see him. We think. Oh, look, there he is.
Yeah.
Abe is now here.
Are we live? Yeah, we're live.
Yes, because it is 10:02.
Well, I'm sorry, the industrials lady, grabbed me, wanted to talk to me.
Do you have your microphone on?
Yeah. Hello.
Facing up.
So what are we learning today? What are we studying today?
Enrichment and beliefs and learning.
And learning. These are some of my favorites.
In today's class, we'll talk about how clocks work.
And how you're supposed to be prepared and
Very
waiting.
prepared. Opportunity strikes, and sometimes it's not on a schedule. So I met the regional director of Industrious just right now, and I was just passing by, hey, have you met Val? And it's like, ran over there and said hi.
I'm going to have
And
to
so
step
since I
up my
was there, I
game.
thought, can I express some compassion here? I don't know if this camera's even in the right place.
I really just don't care because you brought me this yummy water. So
Yeah, you see it? Just trying to sell that.
I appreciate your commitment to bullshitting your way out of being late.
Thank you. Somebody noticed what I was doing.
Late for the second time today, and it's 10:03.
We're off to a good start. So, good morning, everybody. I am Abe Nadimi.
we already did this.
Oh. You guys are so rude. Well, today we're going to talk about...
We already did that too. Abe, why don't you tell us about the wealth wheel?
So I had this brilliant idea by myself. Jannica did not help me at all. And it was really around creating an understanding of the different resources that people have in their life. So wealth is defined in the dictionary as the abundance of possessions, money, and resources. And so many people think resources is, of course, like gold and semiconductors or buildings or houses, rental properties. And we think if at an individual level, what resources do we have so that we can create the life that we want? And ultimately, thoughts become things. So what are the different things that are going into our thoughts that are helping us create the life that'll bring us fulfillment? So as we go through this, Jannica and I started off with another coach that we know, actually. He has something, or he uses a system called Thrive 5. So it's faith, family, fun, fitness, and finances, I believe. And that was really awesome for us as a great start, but there were so many different things that we thought play into someone's life. And so they kind of summarized it into 5, and we thought, Jannica and I like to make things a little bit more complex.
Hold my beer. Let me add 10 more.
So let's not add 10 more, let's add basically 15 more. So what?
Wait, we don't like to make things more complicated. We would like to make them the right way.
That's what's up.
Yes, see?
Yeah, we're very thorough, and we just want to make sure things don't fall through the cracks. And so
They hired me.
We did.
So then we have Emily.
Very true.
Anyways, so we have we went all the way to 10 main resources, and then we broke up each resource into 2 sub pieces. So in this case, one of the resources we have is enrichment, and enrichment has for us 2 different things: beliefs and learning. And so looking through enrichment as a resource, how are you enriching your life will then play into all these different areas in your life. So let me fix that mic. I was told to do that like 10 minutes ago. So we have, of course, the beliefs that we hold, and the beliefs are also related to the decisions that we have. So the beliefs could be money flows. What is an affirmation we love to say? Money flows.
Money flows frequently and easily to me.
There you go. That's a belief. Or money is impossible. Money is the root of all evil. That's another kind of a belief.
Money grows on trees.
Money, yes. It doesn't grow on trees here, but it grows on trees in Colorado.
This is true.
In California.
And Oklahoma.
Really?
Oklahoma?
Oh, yes, that's
About
right.
Oklahoma. And
That's
I think
right.
Arkansas, maybe.
Well, now that the hemp thing has gone on, it's going to lots of places.
Texas just hates making money. So.
And the other one is learning. Of course, we looked at learning as a resource. Like your ability to want to dive in and learn new things is obviously enriching your life and is a resource. and what you learn can impact all your future activities. So that's my very thorough explanation of enrichment and wealth wheel. Hopefully I made up for being late a few minutes.
Well, you used up 5 minutes, so yeah, it's really good. It was
So
very thorough.
Jannica is gone on a learning rampage.
Yeah, I
That
always
has
do.
always been the case.
She's
Always. Like,
always, I
don't-
know, but recently there are these new few subjects that you really dived
Yes.
into.
Human design and gene keys. Mm-hmm. So much so that I'm dreaming about them, and I really don't want to do anything else but study them.
I know that. She walks
driving me
around with her
crazy.
books everywhere. I think she probably sleeps with her books.
Well,
They're right beside her
they are.
on their own little like golden pillow.
No, mounted into a pile on the nightstand with 50 other books
Yes, exactly.
and probably 3 empty mugs.
That's possible too. Actually, not right now.
Who are you?
But all the books, yes. Yeah.
So tell us about your.
Fucking pod person over here.
Tell about human design. So human design it's based on your DNA, which is, and it's really correlated or deciphered from when you were born. And it's 2 different points of time. It's 88 days before you were born, and that defines your, yeah, I know part's crazy. That defines a lot of your personality and yourself, and then the day you were born in that time. And so it all really goes back to the DNA of all of that, and like your ancestors and epigenetics, and it's just, it takes into all these different accounts what fascinate me about the human species. So
I'm pretty sure humans are like we're the aliens here.
probably
Like
very
100%.
odd, very weird. And then Gene Keys takes it one step further. Well, okay, with human design, you're able to understand the best way for you to make a decision, what's natural to you,
Yeah, it's
and it gives
amazing.
you tools to know instantly whether you are making a decision that is true to yourself or not. It also gives you tools to understand how to interact with other people in relationships, no matter what kind they are, because it gives you a better understanding of the way when you are acting from true self or from conditioning.
You're not self, right?
You're not self. And then from there, it just, there's so much to it, even to the type of food you eat, when you eat, where you live, all of these things come into play for you to live that optimal life. And it outright tells you, okay, you're supposed to live in the mountains, so what the hell are you doing living in a skyrise? Like, this does not fit with your...
It's like a mountain.
Yeah, I guess so. Minus the fresh air and the dirt.
You know, there's pollen in the fresh air, so
Yeah.
says the girl who desperately wants to live in the woods.
Right? It also talks about people who should sleep alone and should not sleep with someone else. People who, it talks about, I mean, you can learn so much about yourself and
What I
those
think
around you.
is crazy is that I grew up, I never growing up did I ever look at any of these kind of things. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like, when were you born? Are you a Cancer? Whatever. Whatever. It really didn't matter to me.
Right.
Still don't understand a lot of it, and don't put too much weight on
Yeah.
that stuff. And so when human design came up, from location and birth date and time, the kind of information that I've learned about myself is phenomenal.
Right. Well,
And
it takes
you would
the-
tell me things, and I'm like, yes, like that's exactly what, and they're very, very deep. It's not like you like people, just very broad brushstrokes. No, they're very, very, very
Very specific.
specifics.
Yeah.
And wow,
It comes back to, it really just goes back to the 64 codons in your DNA lining up to the 64 hexagrams of...
yeah, you're saying DNA, and the only thing my pre-med background is asking for is, where's my DNA test? You didn't prick my finger, you didn't get in my blood, how do you know
I
what you're
know.
talking about?
I know.
But I'm telling you, I have just been absolutely shocked at the information
Yeah.
that you can relay, or in this class and these tools, about
Yeah.
how I make decisions, how everybody around us makes decisions. And I've seen you tell people stuff about themselves, and they're like, yes! And again, very, very, very specifics, not these really big broad strokes,
Broad, I know.
broad brush strokes that are very, very commonly known
Yeah.
on these kind of topics.
No, it's absolutely. So human design takes into account Kabbalah, astrology, I Ching, your DNA. What is the other? There's a couple numerology. There's a couple of other things that it takes into account. But then from there, once you get a great understanding of your profile within, what your design is, and then you go into Gene Keys, and Gene Keys just is like mind-blowing because it takes it to that next soul level, to the purpose of your life and why you're here. And
to see the way Gary reacted to what you told him.
There's a couple of other things that yeah.
So we're driving to Fort Worth, and Gary says, "Well, I really haven't never got much use out of it. Don't know anything of it, right?" And so, okay, see, he just says that.
Side note. That in itself, I don't know much about it. I've never got much out of it. Is a huge part of beliefs and learning. So it's like,
yes.
I don't know about it, so I don't value it. Not it doesn't have value.
Yes,
that's what we keep around.
Yes, that's perfect.
Once
See,
a
we
month,
need to
she
snip
says some
that
stuff.
and put that as a social media post. That little bit of genius.
That's so true, and that is so absolutely true. Being closed-minded to learning new things and then establishing beliefs on stuff you don't know. Fuck, I love the fact that you brought that up.
Just having the concept I don't know about it. I don't have enough information to decide if it has value or not. So even just being able to be at that point in your life, even just I'm just not interested in learning more about it, but I appreciate that it means a lot to other people. Go get it.
I think that's so valuable that you said that. I'm shocked at how many people make decisions or will express their opinion and they don't know anything. And it's okay. And I think I did a little Instagram thing a long time ago. It's okay to say you don't know. I don't know. I have no opinion. It's okay.
Right.
That's a valid answer. That's so not used enough. Gosh.
And just there's so much. I don't want to say stigma because that gets thrown around a lot now, but so much negativity or a sense of shame that seems to be associated with admitting you don't know everything. That is so damaging because it takes away the joy of learning. Where it's I have to either make up something, it doesn't matter to me because I don't know about it, instead of I don't know about it. Tell me, teach me something, versus I gotta pretend like I know everything, because if I don't, the people will think I'm stupid. And
can I say something though? I think people will hunt down a view of the world that they believe in, and they hunt down that belief, and they go and they find proof of that. That's your reticular activating system. So you're saying, well, we live in a time now that if you don't know anything, people can get, maybe you're right, but I don't look at that paradigm. I look at it the other way, where I see people fail a lot and they talk about it and they share what they don't know and they share what they're learning. Mm-hmm. So I
think it's shifting towards that, and just that. I say because kids have Google and stuff. Kids don't have to memorize crap that I had to learn as a kid that I never frigging used again. Now it's you need to find something out, find the answer. You're not in trouble for not knowing something. You're in trouble if you don't bother to learn about it.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just when there's a part of the world that I dislike, I think to myself, is it really like that, or is it what I'm sourcing from the world that's making me believe that's the case? Mm-hmm. And on the flip side, what am I doing to change that if I don't see it out there? But we will find what we seek. And for a few weeks, I started posting on Facebook positive news stories. I was like, it's not all fucking doom and gloom at all. So if somebody was to just follow you around and your organization and the lives that you touch in Denton, and that should be posted, wherever in DFW, that should be posted on Facebook every day. There's a new story that's happening from the efforts that you're doing, right? But it's not. And so people don't see those positive changes and people coming together in your organization and the organizations you support, for example, they don't see on the news, hey guys, did you know now Emily worked with such and such organization and they're able to help now 50 more kids? That's not fucking on the news. And so people think the world's coming to end because we see one guy who does some stupid shit covered all over the news.
Mm. Yeah, I'll say if it bleeds, it leads. That's been sadly the case. That is sadly the case.
That is 100%. And so.
But we'll get write-ups and things like that here and there. And so that's exciting and that's progress. But yeah, I think that's just kind of the biology of human nature. If something is safe and good, you can kind of like, that's nice, but I need to be worried about if I'm going to be in danger. Like,
Yeah.
that little lizard brain that people have, it's like, there's danger around every corner. I must be prepared for it. Not, the sun is shining. It's nice. These people did nice things for each other. I don't need to be scared of people doing nice things. I need to be scared of, immigrants.
That's right. Look what can happen.
Steal our jobs.
Then the immigrant.
There's probably 4 white middle-aged dudes that don't have a job because of this guy. He's just stealing our jobs. Dirt, 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 dirt.
If it was tall, then forget all that. I would tell the tall
He'd
guys
be
that all the time.
unstoppable.
So can we double check the stream audio?
What? Really?
We have a message that says stream is not audible.
Huh.
I'm listening here.
Okay.
Yeah, I hear it on mine.
Can you drop a comment there?
I think it's good.
Okay, so anyways,
So you were saying Gary's response.
oh yeah, so we're driving
Tangent.
and what I say is, I look over to Gary and he's talking about working the night before, and he was really sick last week.
Like in the hospital sick.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, let's I took my laptop with me. I'm like, nah, I'm not fucking calling you. Not, you need a rest. So anyways, I say, man, you work a lot. Like, legitimately proud to work with you and be a partner with you because I know you're going to get stuff done, right? That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then Miss Jannica pipes in and says something about how he has an open route. She's like, yeah, I don't know if you know this, but in your human design, you have an open route, and thus that means you'll never feel like your work is done. And he's like, oh my God, wow, you're right. And he was like this profound moment because he had not realized for 68, almost 69 years that this was a way, this was actually like somebody could look at him and code that or tell him that. And so in his case, it's around taking breaks, and it's around knowing by the clock, probably, I've worked enough. Because he literally will work himself to death in a sense.
Well, and he will put pressure on those around him to work
His
because
pace.
at his pace.
Not even his pace, his
Urgency.
Urgency.
His stress, his all of that, which then, depending on the people around you, that can be bad or good.
Because either you're going to motivate people to kick it up a notch, or you're going to be surrounded by people who want to support you, and then they start falling apart because nobody should work themselves to death.
Yes, and all 4 of us are generators, so we have that ability to go, okay, break, stop. We've done enough, But when you have an open route that, we're all generators, but we also, which means that we work our asses off. We're the worker bees. We're the ones that can just get shit done.
I'm a king.
Huh?
I'm a king.
You're a king? You're a king generator? But
there he goes, talking on his root out his
voice
voice box
again.
again.
But our roots are closed, is what I meant. And so, as generators, if our roots were open, then that would be like you could seriously wear yourself out.
That's 100. Yeah, gosh, I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, so Gary will text all the way till late at night, and he'll, early in the morning, which I love that aspect, right? Because I don't like waiting on other people to get stuff done over a long period of time. But man, it is. I can see how he can really hurt himself and damage himself. And that goes back to a different topic, which is rejuvenation, right? Like, is he spending time to rejuvenate himself?
Well,
So it's really cool, though, ultimately, just the amount of learning Jannica has gone through in this particular subject.
For Gary, knowing, like, he cares about his diet, he cares about, taking care of his body and his mind. So I'd be curious to know, for people that don't put as much effort into or ability into those types of self-care, how much more quickly they burn out. Because if Gary didn't take care of himself, would he have been in the hospital years ago with a heart attack, or God forbid, but something like that. But because he cares about his overall well-being, he's able to keep going longer than probably should.
Right,
So
definitely.
overcoming some of those cues your body may be trying to be like, hey, you need to take a break. And he's like, nope, healthy.
So let's go around. What are the things that you're learning about right now?
There's a lot. One of the really cool things about this job is the fact that being a startup, being a company that is catering towards and working with entrepreneurs, it's all about figuring stuff out. So, I mean, honestly, only being slightly facetious, but like I don't even have a list of all of the things that, just to answer a question, I have to dig into a HubSpot training or learn about Amazon publishing or pick a thing. I'm trying to remember.
Pick a thing.
Pick a thing. I mean, honestly, it's just,
Yeah.
it's scary to have to function that way, but it's also really exciting and really liberating to just be able to go down a little rabbit hole of information whenever I want to.
Yep.
The hard part is sometimes like, okay, I got enough to get what I need done. I need to get back to the work part now.
Right, instead of
Sometimes
the learning
that's-
part. That's true.
yeah.
That's a really
So-
good point. I've had the same thing. So right now, Emily's consumed with work learning.
Work learning.
Good. That's
No
good.
fun learning? Or is it still fun? What
It's
you're learning?
fun. I
Good.
like this stuff.
Yeah, me too.
The challenge of learning something to me is fun.
Yes.
Figuring it out and then like, okay, move on to something else.
It's very Da Vinci.
I'm definitely not one of those deep, lifelong, I've always had a passion for pick a thing. Like,
Right.
I've never necessarily been one of those people. I like
You like
to
learning
know a little bit about everything.
all the things. You
Except
know
for-
why? I know why. So this is so awesome the more I learn about this. Because when you have an open head,
Oh,
you
God.
you do what you do. You want to
It's just a sad little white cone.
you have an open crown. You want to know all the answers. But again, it doesn't matter how deep it goes. You just have questions and you want to answer them. So that leads to this very broad experience and level of learning. Abe and I both have that. Well, let's see if Robert does. Head. Robert too. So we're all thinkers and learners.
We need someone with a head on their shoulders. This is what I'm
So
seeing. from this.
Gary, I believe Gary's is defined.
Okay.
Which one?
Gary Rodriguez.
I know which one. What?
Oh, his head. We're talking
His
about
crown?
his crown. So you have
His
two,
cone.
His cone. You have two pressure: your crown and your root. So those are where like the energy. And if you have a defined crown like Gary does, then he knows what he thinks and he's very structured in it, and all of that. But those people around him can pull from his thinking and knowledge, and it's almost like telepathic. Like you'll hear him. Like I do this all the time with him, where I'm like, he's thinking da 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 da, and sure enough, he says it. It's like, holy shit, how did that just happen? Or
Well, and once someone's got just a truly established and focused thought process and thought pattern, it is easier to kind of intuit where their thoughts are going to go because it is an established routine. So you can start to kind of read how someone will interpret
I would
something.
say the beautiful thing about what you just said is that I think that's the gift part of. Okay, here's what. Let me see if I can say this right. You said that like it's a matter of fact and everybody does that. It's not the case. That's your gift. That's a unique way that you are constructed. And I'm not saying nobody else has those traits, but it's not super common. Not everybody can. Not everybody can see that. That's the thing. So, for example, when I told you about the way I process emails, I thought everybody does that. Or
It's
the way,
insane.
or the way I flow chart everything. And I have so many different things that I can actually show you where I was talking about the business function or something, and I went back and I flow charted, and then I brought over Steven, and Steven was looking at this thing. He's like, what the shit? Like, how did you do that? I said, well, I just, listened to what we were going, and I tried to figure out how it all relates together, and here it is. And he's like, you could charge for this. This is a service. So many people can't figure out how their business is functioning or how their life is functioning, and you tie it all together in these little flow charts, right? I didn't think that was special. So I think this is one of the things that, talking about my learning and my enrichment in the last 2 years, has been around, I can't assume that the way I look at the world and the way I experience the world, everybody else has. It's just different, and in that difference is the gifts. So then I can bring to the table flow charting, and you can bring to the table something else, right?
Explaining your flow chart to people.
Maybe that's what your
Right,
gift would
yeah.
be, right? And 100%, like if I'm having a difficult moment, it's like, well, it's just not my thing. Somebody else's, that's their thing, and they love it, and they're great at it. And that's been really liberating and empowering also, because I'd get frustrated at moments. Well, yeah, I either don't I don't give myself credit for something in the sense like, oh, I can do that. That's a skill. Or I get frustrated because I don't understand why people can't understand me. Well, we don't speak the same language. So knowing that, like, okay, it's not working, tried something, something else.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
What about beliefs?
Beliefs. Wow, that's a
Wait, did you answer the question of what you're learning?
What am I learning? I'm learning how to deal with belligerent people. I'm just joking.
Just kidding, but seriously, she's awful.
No, I'm learning a lot. Let me think. Learning a lot about Da Vinci. Learning a lot about. I spent a lot of time
That sounded
studying.
like the Rocky theme. What is it?
Dun, 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 dun. So I'm spending a lot of time researching Eckhart Tolle,
Yep.
Tai Chi Ching, and
Your godlike way of speaking.
The Tao.
the Tao, Wayne Dyer. I'm spending a lot of time in those type of subjects. Hopefully, with the goal of understanding myself better, understanding other people, how we relate to the world. I've been forming this concept around this book. I have the title. It's called Positively Offensive. Right? That's a little decal I have here on my laptop, which is my desire to be more positive in life and to be more on the offense, not defensive, right? But it's also plain words. Naturally, I tend to be a little bit offensive. So, and that book wasn't like, I tell you how life works. It was supposed to be like, this is what I've learned about being positive and offensive in life, right? And what I realized recently was that I had been really spending a lot of time in 4 main subjects over probably the last decade. And it's around understanding of the law of attraction, all the derivatives of how things play into that, really creating the world, imagining the world that you want, and being a collaborative, creative component of things being creating. And the other one is understanding the ego and what it does to our interactions with, ourselves, society, and of course the planet. Essentialism, which is almost like I call it like an applied version of minimalism. And then the last one is I forgot, what was the other one I was talking about?
Stoicism is the one.
Stoicism, thank you. And the last one is for Stoicism. Really an understanding of what I can control and versus what I can't control, and what are different ways to look at any situation, any moment in time, to look at it and understand what is causing me discomfort about it. Is it my perception of it? Is it my judgment of it? Is it how I've internalized something that's external? Blah, blah, blah. So I think these 4 topics are what I've spent so much time on, and I love it. And I think anytime I get where I'm not in, like a state that I am now, calm, happy, I always think like, what is causing this? And either is it because I violated one of these 4 areas, right? Did I bring on too much and not focus on the essential things? Or am I internalizing something that was external? Or, you get the point. So it's just super, super profoundly powerful, and it impact all the different areas of life. And I really do think if there's a way, I want to be able to write on this topic, because I think this is one of the pieces that's I don't see educated enough as just a base level of culture and society, which is this understanding of compassion and how we can relate to each other. And we started right before we went online. We talked about when somebody says something, if it hurts somebody else's feelings, right? So the Stoic thing is, well, that's because of how I reacted to what's being said. It's not what they're being said. I chose to then internalize that, and one of the quotes that I read often, which is, when you hear something bad said about you, you almost can laugh, because if they knew all the bad things about you, they would be saying a lot more, in a sense.
Like, if that was the one you fell on, good.
Yes, exactly. It's
Don't look any further into this.
Yeah, it's like, why is that one thing bugging you? Because there's so many things about us that need to improve.
That's so awful. Why is that the thing that...
Yes. One of the Stoic exercises is in the morning, Marcus Aurelius would say to himself, You know, like today I'm going to meet all of these kind of people in the world, negative people, right? Rude people, ungrateful people, whatever, right? And it's just because they don't know, right? And temper your response because of that. And I think that's the kind of stuff that has really been really interesting for me and stuff that I research a lot.
It occurred to me, I've been kind of studying up on the law of attraction and just kind of mindfulness in itself as far as non-work studying and learning I'm doing. So, and taking the train has been helping a lot with that, because that's in time that I can very much be in the moment. Because when you're driving, even if there's not shit traffic, you're still needing to pay attention and focus.
Sure.
And whatever. And so this is a good opportunity to watch the world going on and being around different kinds of people that, you know, remind me of, you know, being grateful for, you know, my life, even when I'm having my white privilege and first world problems days. It's good to kind of have that little bit of humbleness coming back at you that, you know, it was cold the other day and I got to, like, you know, wear a warm coat and get on a train or get in my car. I can't remember if I drove that day. And, you know, seeing people not wearing warm clothes and huddled under a cardboard box and just thinking about the fact, like, man, the next time I'm, you know, griping about having to, like, you know, make my robot vacuum clean my house, I should probably take a step back from that.
I don't have a robot vacuum.
Well,
I need one.
You had 48 kids.
So I totally need a vacuum.
You totally need it. Yeah, I get you. No, you're absolutely right on. And it's at those moments, if you can take that kind of thing into everything, right? It changes everything on how we interact with what happens around us. It's a beautiful way to look at the world.
Yeah. So don't get hung up on things that. Or it's okay. It's okay to acknowledge your frustration or aggravation, but then you need to look at it and send it away and not dwell on it and fixate and get yourself all wound up and, you know, turn into a raging beehole about something that's really not important and you probably wouldn't remember.
Never heard that one before.
A raging beehole? Man, stick around, kid. I got plenty of those.
So can someone tell me about this? Is it Doki? Doki Literature Club?
And I got sidetracked.
I did.
Can you look just that up and tell us? Because that's already getting sidetracked by looking something up like that.
It was a visual novel and then also made into a video game.
Huh.
What? What do you mean it's a visual novel? That's what I'm talking
literally
about.
what it says on Wikipedia.
Sounds like something I've been thinking about writing. I was like, maybe I can write this book in flowcharts. I am not even shitting you.
Well,
not
I don't
really
think
all
you mean
flowcharts.
this type of visual novel. This is more like anime type.
Yeah, like a manga.
Hey, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I got that idea. Hey, can I get a drink, please? But the idea is amazing.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I may have to. Maybe today I'll learn about this and not get any other work done.
Yeah,
It's a visual novel.
Fascinating. So
Metafictional psychological horror game.
that sounds incredible.
That sounds like right up Scarlett's alley.
Man, why aren't, speaking of your 48 kids, how come none of them are here to tell us what this is all about? Because they probably know.
They totally would know.
Youths.
They're sleeping.
Oh, probably.
Well, I think I'm fascinated with learning. I'll tell you that much. And I'm so happy that the way the company is designed, it requires us to learn so much and constantly learn.
Well, we were talking with Peggy last night about the fact that, like, what content do we want to put out? Do we want to basically take these snapshots of information versus encouraging people to find the resources to get real-time information, you know, have experts talk, you know, what is currently happening, what's now and next, versus stuff that's happened before, which is still valuable, but depending on the type of business you have, information from 5 years ago might as well be carved on a stone tablet, buried under a mountain, because it's basically about the same level of usefulness.
Yeah, it really does depend.
Well, it depends. It depends on if you're talking about tactical things using modern tools, or you're talking about strategic things, philosophical things. then
Also
those are
in the type
super
of stuff.
applicable. Like, for example, how many 100-year-old books have you read
Probably a lot, actually.
in the nonfiction space, like self-improvement space?
Maybe not. Well,
Sorry, I
the
should have clarified the
Theosophical
question.
Society. I mean, there were hundreds of old things, including people who worked there.
I think I've read 2.
Well, because also I was in Latin club, so I mean, I read a lot of like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of year-old books that were nonfiction, like
Latin
studying
club is cool.
text and stuff to.
You're not counting
Compete.
school? Is that what you
No, I said Latin club is cool.
said? Oh.
What? No, it's not.
I've
It
read
was fun.
So many old books. Like
Hmm?
I've read so many old books. I don't know. Can't count.
That's amazing.
Well,
I
same
don't
with
think it's.
poetry. I guess that's not.
I don't
really
think a lot of people do though.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people just don't read.
Well,
Period.
yeah.
I think that is like full stop. People just don't read. Wasn't there some, I don't know what the statistic is, but like
That's really
the
cool.
number of books people will read like by choice after you get out of school is like a single digits or
What?
yeah, it's like people will not choose to read or just don't feel like, oh, that's a thing I need to spend my free time doing.
I don't even.
Well, the
know.
average
Do not
CEO,
comprehend.
the
I
average
don't.
CEO of a successfully ran company reads like 62 books a year.
Yeah,
So,
that tells you a lot right there.
and what she's saying is 100% correct.
Wow.
That
I
most
don't even-
most like the general population will read a book a year, if that.
I don't understand.
Okay, what's the number?
According to the research, Americans, specifically Americans, read an average of 12 books per year. And the typical
Yeah, the mean.
American has read 4 books in the last year.
Yeah.
What?
So
I
4
think
books
I
in the
read
last
4
year.
books like on my way to work today.
Yeah.
How many of
like,
them are fiction versus nonfiction? So that's another conversation
Yeah.
point. And how many of them are focused on developing of the self?
Yeah, any kind of self-improvement, but you know what, honestly, at that point, you know what, even if you're reading like a garbage book, just some, brain-relaxing sci-fi,
can you
whatever.
Google the average hours spent in front of the TV? Something
Oh,
like that.
I don't even understand that either.
It's going to be depressing.
Yeah.
Not if you're.
Does Netflix count on that?
Shit.
Well, it depends. Is it documentaries?
Yes.
Or is it
That's
bullshit
Well,
TV?
that's what I was going to ask.
I'm feeling very personally attacked right now by you and Netflix for constantly asking me if I'm still watching it. Yes, bitch, I'm still watching it. I'm halfway through this show.
Like, are you alive? You're on 4 seasons today.
Listen, I am just dedicated and driven to succeed and accomplish my goals of watching all of Friends before work.
Oh
on
my
Monday.
gosh, I love Friends.
Okay.
Oh, God.
So what's the number?
In 2017, average U.S. consumers spent 3 hours and 58 minutes daily watching
What?
TV.
4 hours a
What?
day.
How?
And I promise you,
I don't
it's not.
even-
Man, if you add that to the social media, like
Oh, yeah.
That's a valid point. Add that to the staring at the phone.
like a 2 or 3 hours a day at least.
So you're talking about 7 to 8 hours a day, and this is the reality of it.
Well, I turned that thing on because, like, after the last Apple update, like, it would tell you basically how much time
Yeah.
you're spending. I'm like, I don't need to know that. Get out of my life. God, why are you so obsessed with me, phone?
Well, this is the point. When a society invests 7 hours a day, not all of it's wasted, sure, right? But
Hopefully.
we can just imagine, and I'm just going to go on a limb and probably say the average person is not watching the Curiosity Stream channel or whatever on Amazon. They're not watching documentaries. They're watching Bird Box and they're watching Game of Thrones.
I'm
and so
rewatching
forth.
The Office for the 78th time. Okay?
And they're watching Friends and they're watching The Office. And all of that is awesome because it is part of rejuvenating and it is part of having fun. It's part of relaxing. But if it's the enrichment part is being hurt and not being done, I think this is why you have a society that is not progressing, that is stuck, that they come out of school and they can't move, they can't go on. They are not they're violating essentialism, they're violating stoicism, they're violating the law of attraction 100%. 100%. This is why I'm saying, like, these 4 things. Is it essential for you to be doing this? No. What would actually advance your career? No. Do you need to have this big house or this new car so then put you in a condition where, and that's why they get stuck in this rut. And I think it's so obvious as to why the country is moving in the
Messed
direction
up
it
the way
is.
Yeah.
While simultaneously being one of the easiest countries in the world to set up a company. It is the easiest country in the world to be entrepreneurial. Texas is ranked, just this year, the #1 state in the union for women entrepreneurs. Like, that's phenomenal, right? So if you think about it that way, what are individuals doing to take life and take control of their own life and move forward for what they want to achieve versus, well, they didn't help me, this one doesn't want to do this, I didn't have that growing up, nobody taught me this. But it's right here.
Everything
Like,
you need to
literally
learn.
you'd ever want to, like,
Get
let's
off
say you,
Snapchat and get on Google.
let's say you don't have the internet,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, let's say you don't have a TV at home or a computer. You don't even need those anymore to access billions of hours of educational information on your topic.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of free resources, and I mean, the library still exists. They still have free computers.
I was shocked when I tried.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of the reaction I just saw in Emily, like, this can't be right.
This thing.
Yeah, she's blowing it out. Hey, Jannica literally turned it off.
Oh, I did.
I was
really
there when
quickly.
she was setting up her new phone, and it's like, nope.
Like, I don't want to see that. That's bullshit.
Nobody needs to know.
No.
Least of all me.
But it's not even, I know what I do on my phone. I don't know. It's just another thing I don't want them monitoring.
Oh, geez.
Oh, they're still monitoring
They're
it. They're
still
just not
monitoring
telling
it,
you.
not telling you.
Well, true.
I love all this, like, that's
It's like when I used to let the kids go play outside by themselves and just still be watching from the window, like.
And taking a nap at the same time.
Yes, that is so what it is like. Yeah, it's all you.
Have fun.
I'm watching you.
Yeah, remember how we talked about don't throw that in the pool?
I see you.
Remember, heads up, I'm going to ask you about that in about 10 minutes, and you're going to be like, I don't know how I got there. I'm like, well, I do. Let's go to the tape.
Oh, geez.
Totally need that.
Oh, my gosh. So, that's what I'm learning about, if you guys want to know. That's my thoughts
Yeah.
on enrichment. Oh, so here's the question.
What?
Enrichment is oftentimes self-directed, right? For sure. At what point is it... At what point, how do we balance self-direction, right? Which is how Leonardo da Vinci learned all the amazing things he did. So Leonardo da Vinci spent hours, I don't even know how to say hours, years.
His life.
Studying light and how it reflects off an object so that he could paint it. Like just that alone, and that's why the light features of his paintings are so incredible, right? So how do we balance self-direction with things that should be taught? Because as an adult, we can look back and say, foundationally you need, or maybe it's not you need, let me try to use different terms. Foundationally, let me go to what I was saying earlier. Foundationally, I believe everybody should have an understanding of those 4 topics, right? Stoicism, ego, law of attraction, essentialism. Okay?
You foundationally believe that.
Yes.
Okay?
So, and I came upon, I'm like 39 now, and I'm just putting that together this week, like, these are the 4 things. This is what I can, right now I don't have a 5th one. I think these 4 are everything that I need to write what I've learned in these subjects and what I need to learn in these subjects. And so I could explore those topics and write in a book, right?
Okay.
What do I do with that information when I'm interacting with my 4-year-old, my 13-year-old, my 1-year-old, your kids? So, for example, right?
I think you model that.
Yeah.
You don't say it at them. You model that behavior. They will be drawn to follow. I mean, monkey see, monkey do. We're people. So, like,
not here.
that is how I see the most interaction, like, most responsiveness and
Yes.
output, I guess, when working with kids is I can spend 10 minutes telling a 12-month-old, like, how to hold a spoon, or I hold the spoon and I hold it near them, and then I hand them the spoon and I put their hand on it, and then we just do that back and forth
No, I
until
get
they're
your
like,
point.
oh, so it's not necessarily eating, but I mean, that's how it is. You model those behaviors, and you may just casually bring up, oh, I did this because of this philosophy
Yes.
that I study. It's...
And it's more than that, though. It's once a child models the
Oh man,
behavior
this is a painful quote for me, by the way, because this goes this.
Yep.
And what I mean by this one is that I know I have a difficult time explaining things at a simple level.
you do.
I do.
Yes.
And so every time I see that quote, I'm like, how do I get better at it? And is it something because I use, maybe verbal is not, maybe it's, I don't know. I have a really hard time explaining some complicated topics that I understand. I feel like I understand them, but I don't understand the simplicity of how to explain them. I guess maybe I don't get it enough, right?
You don't
the
get
books.
it at its core.
I don't get it at
Yeah.
its core.
So you'll understand the huge broadness of it, but ultimately, deep down, what is that little nugget of
Exactly.
The essence of it.
So all I've read in the book, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, right? It's, I don't know, let's call it 300 pages, right? 300-page book. I read,
Do
I
you still
opened
have
the
a physical copy of it? Or do
I
you-
know, I just have Kindle and Audible. And the Tai Chi Ching, right, which is a, I don't
Yeah.
know, multiple thousand-year-old book written by Lao Tzu. In one chapter, and what I mean chapter, it's what you and I would call a very long sentence, like a
Oh, God.
run-on sentence, paragraph, not even a paragraph. I mean, right? You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah.
tiny.
It's like Herman Melville and Billy Budd. I think the first 2 pages was one sentence long. I was like, I'm finding the Cliff's Notes. Bye.
No, so this is just like a chapter is like one small little paragraph. Chapter, I think 16 is all of what's in the New Earth.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I read this. I'm almost done with the New Earth, right? I'm 5% done until the end. My Kindle tells me. And then I read this one little fucking thing. It's like 50 words. And I'm like, oh my God, everything I just read over bazillion hours is these 50 words. Like, it is incredible how deep that book is. And the lessons that are in that book. So profound.
Yes.
I'll read it and tell you the nugget. Give me a couple of days.
Anyways, so I don't know. The reason I'm asking is I specifically sat down with the girls. So I have a 15-year-old and a 13-year-old, and I specifically sat down with them and I said, I had just started listening to a course on Stoicism. It's a crash course on Stoicism. I'll actually drop the link here because it's a free course. And so I was like, you know what, girls? That's what we're going to do today. We're going to take this course together.
How come you haven't sent it to me?
Because you're so busy on Gene Keys
I'm
and
hardly
DNA.
doing anything. So
He doesn't love us.
no.
I
Does
do.
not want us to be stoic.
Well, no, I was going to think about that because
I'm here to teach you about
We're
the
already
Stoicism.
really stoic. I know I'm beyond stoic, so
I don't really know about that, actually.
I'm very stoic.
I don't know about that.
well, I was thinking about it, like how
So-
you would
so
coach
anyways.
that for them. Because I came from a family of readers. My parents never you must read now. It was just there were always books in the house, things of that nature. So I kind of how to get the girls interested or wanting to learn more is you can drag them to the bookshelf all day long, but if you've just got an environment where they want to seek these things out, they know that these things are important to you, they're probably going to, as long as you're not coaxing them to do it. Kids are like cats. You want them to do the thing, they're never going to do the thing. You tell them, don't read this book, they're like, well, I'm going to read it so hard. And I'm going to read the hell out of it. So just basically,
Well-
you mustn't put it in a locked cabinet and then put the key somewhere where they can probably find it.
You are
how you do it.
correct. I do think, though, and this is the balance part, as a parent, that lock cabinet, if I really keep it just truly to myself, right, maybe they don't have an idea to even ask what's going on in there. And as a cultural lesson, that's why when we talk about our school that we look to create, it's what is in the culture. So we have in the wall there the 4 agreements by Miguel Ruiz, right? And that was I think it's Toltec. Those are the lessons in the Toltec religion or culture. I'm sorry, in the tribe. It's a Native American tribe. So, do I wait for them to stumble upon that, or do I say
You did.
this is the
You
agreement?
let them have their journey to find that knowledge. Just
and you
like
model
did.
it.
You're telling me you just never sit down
No,
hey,
I'm not
young
saying
pissing
never.
on tree, come sit down. This is the agreements that they had. That means this is something that they were teaching everybody in their tribe. Or
So-
in the Middle Eastern house, an Iranian house, you're taught, hey, take your shoes off at the front door. They don't just let the kids run around.
Oh no, that's like a learned physical behavior. Like that's modeled like here's how to hold a spoon. It's your kids see you come inside, your shoes come off.
So let's say in a
will do
very
that.
nuanced case like a Middle Eastern house, okay? So when you come into a Middle Eastern house and there's a gathering, the elders are always sat as far away from the door as possible, okay? And if they have the best chair, let's say that. So if there is any physical chair, you're going to see the elder person there. And then they even argue with each other on like, no, your back hurts, you should sit, right? So there's all of that going on, right?
That's Asian families.
Oh,
in
there's
general,
a lot of,
not just-
I'm not just saying it's just Middle Eastern, I'm
Yeah.
speaking from my history, right?
It's where all the brown people are from.
All
Yeah,
the brown
all
people
the
are.
brown people.
So those are things that are not just left for the kids to figure out. Like, hey, come sit down. You can't. You got to let uncle sit there. You got to let your grandpa sit there. You know, and they tell you those things, even though they are modeling it. So that's a physical thing. But how about in a philosophical thing?
Well, that's the thing, though. I guess is you're telling the kid, okay, no, grandma, or grandpa, or auntie, or uncle, whoever it is. No, we let them sit there. You're not getting into the probably fundamental history of the cultural shifts that have led you as a people to revere your elders with a 4-year-old. You're just telling him, let grandpa sit in the chair, you sit here. Like, done. When you've got high schoolers, I mean, they're capable of learning all this stuff on their own. So just like part of a dinner conversation or while you're driving somewhere together, like, today at work, we were talking about the 4 Toltec whatevers, and just, maybe one sentence synopsis about it. And if they're interested and therefore receptive and it's part of their learning process and journey at that time, they will connect and ask you more questions. And that is your opening to be the teacher.
That's self-directed learning right there as when you're a guide or a teacher. You don't teach, you don't
You
preach.
answer questions.
You strew ideas and content and activities and experiences, and you do it out of stuff that you love. And sometimes you're like, okay, I really love this. I think so-and-so will love it too. I'm going to ask them to come with me. I'm going to paint the picture of why it means a lot to me or why I want to experience it. If they choose to come, they come. They're going to dive deeper if it's part of their journey and path of learning. And then they ask the questions to learn more.
Because maybe Stoicism speaks to you, but some other, Taoism or something, can't think of a thing off the top of my head, will speak to Noor. So
Might not
as long
be
as
Stoicism.
you've taught her...
Right, I get that she doesn't have to be a Stoic.
Yeah.
You hear me, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying why not, even in this case, like, sit down and go through the class. Because I know, yesterday it actually happened around the dinner table. Noor, how was your day? It's really good. Well, whatever. And I'm like, well, tell me something. Tell me a story today. And she was like, well, you know what? I'm not going to be petty.
That's
I
awesome.
was like, oh my God, that's amazing. That is such a great answer. And I don't know why she got there. I don't know how she got there, but I know that's what happened. And I was like, that is fucking epic. Now, if I, for example, you see that's a 1-sheet thing, the 4 agreements, 1 sheet. So if I print that out and take it home to the teenagers, I'm like, sit down after dinner, come here, sit down, 5 minutes, just read this 1 sheet, then throw it away. At least I've opened the door for something for them to experience. Then maybe they're like, this is dumb. However, a year from now, like, what was that shit I read?
Okay, so my feedback on that is, it's still let me put on you what I think is valuable and what I want you to learn versus, do you have interest in this and are you even open to reading this? Or are you just going to read through it and throw it away? Because you haven't planted anything by that. You don't plant anything if someone is resistant to it. They could just be like, blah, 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 yep. They could even recite it to you and still not have taken that seed.
Well, sometimes there's a huge difference between tolerance and acceptance. So you're tolerating whoever it is telling you to read something, but you are accepting it and you are bringing it into yourself and it is now part of you versus like, I will just go along with the ride. It's, assigned reading in school. It's like, I will get this done because I have to, not because I have any interest whatsoever, which is always one of the things that aggravated me about school as an avid reader.
Yeah. Yes.
Read this stupid old book. I'm like, I have 11 other books that I've read that also touch on this topic in a much more interesting and engaging way. But no, I will read your stupid book and
No, it's
write my paper on how stupid your book was. And
I
then
totally
you'll be sad.
understand.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn this and understand
Analogies,
this too.
stories, experiences, how do they affect you? People always tie into the emotions, no matter who you are. So whether they're 1,000% resistant or 5% or completely in alignment with you, if they can hear your story of how it has impacted your life and what it means to you, and especially in examples where they can visualize it, see it, feel it,
Well,
then they're going to connect with it.
okay, so I'll tell you a story. It's had a big, profound change on me. So when I was 21, 22, yeah, almost 22, I was working at a helicopter. I was making great money. I met a car guy. His name was Mike Kaiser, and he was my boss. And when I found out that he had some old classic Corvettes, he had some hot rods, I was, we're talking all that stuff, and I was like, dude, can't wait. I'm gonna go buy myself a Ferrari. A Corvette. And he's like, don't do that until you need to save your money, whatever, right? Then he goes, I'll tell you what, make me a deal. Make me a deal. I said, okay. He says, the minute you have enough money in cash for a Corvette, I will personally go down with you and we'll pick out the best one and I'll help you and we'll haggle down the price and everything. Will you promise me you will not spend the money like that? Now, until you save your money. Don't get in debt. I'm like, okay, shake it, deal, right? Then he told me to read some book, and he pulled me aside, and he also told me about money. He was like, this is shit nobody ever taught me, and I wish this was taught, and I'm going to just tell you. So he's like, save your money, let me show you what has happened, talks money with me, like legit, let me show you my portfolio, let me show you what I've done, right? And he was about 45, I guess, at the time. I don't even know how much time has gone by now, so yeah, maybe he was my age now, something like that. Yeah, he must have been like in his early 40s at the time, right? So I didn't ask to go in a Bell helicopter and get an informational lesson about finances, but the fact that he saw that in me and spoke wisdom that he had instead of like, oh, do you want me to tell you how I haven't done bankruptcy 3 times? Or like just sitting down passively letting me suffer and going through all that without saying, I know where it's at. I know this stuff. Let me help you. I kind of balance between these two things. Like if you see someone going down a direction that they're obviously having a difficulty, right? Do we just sit back and just say, well, they didn't ask me, so I'm not going to say anything? Or do we pull them aside and say, hey, I want to give you a tool that maybe you can use?
Well, think about how he phrased it and how you felt being asked. Because it wasn't, look, I'm going to tell you blah, blah, blah. Or, for what it sounds like he said, he asked if you wanted to know some stuff that he wished someone had told him. He gave you the opportunity to be like, no, thank you. Or, you had the opportunity to bow out of that conversation if you had not actually wanted to get that information. And if you had been in a point where you're like, I don't want to listen to this fucker tell me any of this stuff, you wouldn't have heard any of it. You wouldn't have gained any value from it. You might have just sat there smiling while, this person like rambled on at you.
Well,
but
I think it goes back
he
to
gave you the option to buy into that. And you had the then choice, like we were talking about yesterday. You chose to be engaged in that. You were not
But I feel like it actually applies to what you said at the very, very beginning, which is a lot of times people won't want to learn because they have a belief about something already, and because of that, they refuse to then learn after, anything. And I think that's really the conversation element here.
Yeah, and even that, it's absolutely like the willingness to learn is so vitally important. But there's also on the flip side is you're also, just like when, the inputs, the voices around us, you're also not necessarily obligated to allow someone to impart their version of wisdom on you if you maybe don't find other aspects of what they have to say in line with what you are actually working towards. So this person that you're talking about knew they were a decent person, had a career that you respected, worked in a similar industry. So you valued their input. It wasn't necessarily just some
random person,
or even someone you knew who was just like, maybe shouldn't be a person to be giving financial advice because they're a shit show financially.
You are right.
And you can teach lessons through failure, but on the flip side, it's like you're still in that struggle. I'm probably not going to take investing tips from you because you're
You-
living in my basement.
You are correct. I'm different, and I will take input from anybody in any subject ever, and I just add it to a list of knowledge, right? It doesn't mean it's fact. It doesn't mean I have to live on it. It's just knowledge.
Yeah.
I will take it from anybody. I will take fitness advice from an overweight person, or how to build muscle advice from a skinny person, and then I just add it like, does it check out? Does it validate? So go back to human design, right? Everything I've experienced in the human design world that I've learned, starting at the very first introduction, was with a gentleman named AJ back, I want to say December 2017, somewhere in there, right? Something of that nature, to what I've learned from Jannica ever since has been knowledge that checks out. It's validating in other things, and it's building the knowledge base on it. So the question is, how did I learn about the Twitch platform? So I had heard about Twitch before and didn't pay much attention to it. And then one time we're having a lunch. Jannica and I actually are having lunch with a person named Ken. And I want to say Ken started talking about Twitch. Mm-hmm. And I said, I just don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand why people are on the platform and watching other people play games. And so instead of just staring at me and like nodding, he said, well, and then he taught me something very profound about the way I was looking at the world. And he said, have you ever watched a football game? I'm like, yeah. How about a soccer game? Yep. Do you ever watch baseball or basketball? Yeah, I've seen them. Sure, I don't follow them, but I watch them. He said, isn't that what people in the stands and at home watching other people play a game? Yeah. So why wouldn't you want to watch, if you like playing a certain kind of video game, why would you not want to watch people playing the video game? Plus, there's the entertainment factor that happens too. So we talk to the person who's playing the game, and they talk, and I was like, holy shit.
And that element of voyeurism that everybody secretly likes.
That's so amazing. And so then on the flip side of that, I thought, and this is where Jannica and I had started playing around with this concept a year ago, in a sense, in our minds, which is like, this is our game.
Yeah.
Like, this is where I play, is the interactions with other humans, learning from other people, conversing with you amazing geniuses. And so maybe somebody else is interested in our game, right? And that's kind of like the thought process behind it, and then finally led to where we are today. And we're still obviously in the learning and experimenting mode of what this means. And
if nothing else, I don't even want to say the words because I'm going to go straight to your head. It's like, I have to admit that I'm glad you make us do this stupid thing, because it's pushing me out of my comfort zone, and it's encouraging me to verbalize publicly things that I think about.
yes, Emily, yes, there's a lot of value for people that'll push and push and push you to be the big epic person you are, because left to our own devices, sometimes we just don't do that for ourselves. You're right.
Yeah,
And
but I
it's-
kind of want to be that behind the scenes epic person who you find out at the end of the book was secretly the mastermind the whole time.
What do you think?
She wants to be the epic person that you find out at the end was secretly the mastermind.
That's fine too. No, I love structured lessons. I like to learn things on my own. I like a bunch of stuff. So, Mr. Steven, there's just a bunch of different things. I just love learning information and knowledge. A lot of it is self-directed, but I do love those moments. Steven is a person who knows a broad base of information in an area.
What does Steven not know? That's
a lot.
what I would like to know.
Trust me. Hey, yes, Steven can't say shit right now, so I'm like,
Sorry,
that's what you
Steven.
get, bro. That's what you get, brother. You're not here with the mic, so you can't shut the fuck up. So,
can just
Steven
hear him
knows
typing already.
I know, he's like, rah.
No, I would really like to know
Anyways.
what subject he doesn't know anything
No,
about.
Steven knows a lot of
Childbirth.
different topics, right? And so I love when he says, he just gives information,
Yeah.
right? Instead of me, he could be like, and walk off. Like,
Yeah.
well, Abe hasn't asked me the right question, so I won't unlock the information that I know. Or he's like, no, have you thought about this? Have you read this? You need to go study that.
It's true.
I love that.
He's totally a teacher in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he's a teacher in a lot of ways. And
Influencer.
so
But see-
I balance this stuff.
Well, I think it's just like when you two will have a conversation, that's totally different than how like Steven and I will have a conversation.
Well,
And
you're
it's
not
like,
as smart as me, so you can't. I gotta learn how to say this shit with a straight face.
Yeah, we'll
I don't
work
know
on that.
woo-woo.
That'll be something I can teach you because I can say the most horrifying things with a very earnest and
Yes, she can.
believable face. Because basically, I'm in it just to get that look from people all day, every day. That like, what?
You know,
What'd you
there
think?
is something.
And then she
simply
got
wrong,
here, and
right?
everything we're saying is like that. So
Yeah, we don't know Steven's human design. We need to get
hey,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. So in your case, we had a moment at lunch with a young man who said some things that were very anti-queer community, right? We could have left that moment alone.
Oh no, we couldn't.
We sure could
Could
have.
have.
Well,
No. But this is exactly the point.
I was ready to pull my soapbox out of my purse, put it on the table, and
No,
climb right
you
up onto
did.
it.
You did that
You
with the
did.
B-hole persona and everything. Now, what I mean to say is that we could have left that alone. We were not asked to teach. We were not asked to provide instruction. It doesn't impact us personally. It would impact somebody else in the future that may result in him getting fired, beat up, kicked out of school. You get the point. Hear me out. So
I see that as the
instead,
cultural training for
Oh,
kids, not let me teach you about whatever.
let me teach you
How
about
to change a tire or something.
Let
That's
me
actually
teach you
useful
something.
skill too.
Yeah, but this is the point. This is exactly that. This is enough of an issue to you that you rose up out of your chair, like levitated.
I felt
Yes.
myself doing it, and then I was like, I can't talk about this right now.
Yeah,
So, no,
because
I
you went to angry mode, and
pulled
so
back
we
from
end up
it.
having a wonderful conversation, in my opinion. And I
Yes.
could see his wheels turning and thinking and asking questions, and that was a teaching moment. Now we could have let that go on by because it wasn't self-directed. It was not asked from our part. However,
Well, it's because I did not want to be that person that reacts crazily
that's so funny.
Right.
to something like that, which
Yeah,
is why I
because
specifically.
you stoic. Maybe you need some stoic training.
I guess I probably am already exhibiting it by not ripping him a new asshole
No,
for
'cause
saying homophobic bullshit. That I'm like, you're this old and you live in 2019. How are you like this?
Yes.
Yes.
But even the judgment of that was, I get it. Anyways, all I'm saying is that was a
That's
wonderful moment. I'm glad it happened. If it didn't happen with us, it would have happened in the future, and it may not have gone that way, and he would not have dealt with it in the compassionate environment that we were there. All I'm saying is that that's a wonderful thing and happened. But how about that moment where it's like, I'm so frustrated. Everybody at school hates me. I've thrown my bookcase down on the ground, whatever. And it's like, come on, let me teach you about these concepts. Right? So I feel like that's the way that triggered you is the way some of these other things trigger me. And it's like, I just want to share this. Now, he could have told us at the end, fuck you guys, I'm not interested. Cool. Can't force it in his brain to stay and adapt. But at least he heard it. And I think so much of the things that I've heard in my life, the later I'm like, Jannica told me about that, or Emily told me about that, or right? Like they come up later on, and then it's not, like it comes out, it becomes used, right? And it helps me shape a different world for myself. So all that to say, I'm right. I'm going to point that out. Thank you for that moment in time for the young man who provided us that opportunity, because now it proves the point that we need to teach this shit to our kids. Thank you.
I think it just proves the point that you're available to be a teacher when opportunities arise and not a lecturer.
Big difference.
You say whatever you want. You guys say whatever you want. I lectured that boy right there on the spot. And
Nope, that was not a lecture.
That
Oh,
wasn't
okay.
a lecture. It was a thoughtful conversation.
And he was open to it.
yes.
even if he wasn't, I would have lectured him anyways.
And there you go.
And then he would have left and been like, damn, that motherfucker told me that I need to be nice to other people. Well, maybe I gotta be nice to other people. I don't know. Or it would have happened
Or
later.
it would have gone a completely different direction, which is not that alternate factual scenario you've created in your head.
I'm just saying it works. Everybody was here. We have witnesses. We have
Or
witnesses.
his darling nanny person who's loved him his whole little life.
I was about to
so
stab him in the
angry.
throat.
It was.
And he's probably not ever seen me get that mad about something, so it freaked him the hell out.
Yeah, it could have very well.
Yeah.
Because he's never seen me get that close to losing my shit.
Anyways, well.
Despite him peeing on my head.
Anyways. Huh? Yes. So we are at 11:11 Central Time.
11.
For you, it's Stephen at home. That's some woo-woo shit right there. You can pay attention to that. And thank you so much for tuning in. Our website address. I do not. I'm actually half Mexican, half Iranian, so I speak Persian. I don't speak any of that shit, actually. Unfortunately, I suck at both of the other languages. I barely speak English,
I
trust
was
me.
literally about to type.
I
you
barely
speak
speak English.
If I spoke other
literally
languages,
I was born-
if
I
I
was-
spoke English,
I
if I even spoke.
I was born in Tehran to a Mexican mother. My parents met in Los Angeles, so yeah. And I barely speak English right now, and God forbid I type my typing. Ugh, my spelling. Anyways,
And he only knows
What
God's
is
word in
Emirati?
Spanish.
Are you
From the
Emirati?
Emirates.
Oh,
the
Emirates.
UAE.
so our links are below. If you're seeing this video, please subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. We have more than this videos. These videos are going to be there. Snippets of videos. Our Becoming Da Vinci show that we love is there. Join us on Facebook. Check out our personal accounts. Stalk us all over the place. Our website address is thekineticexperience.com. Our Becoming Da Vinci show is becomingdavincishow.com. And I am signing off. My name is Abe Nadimi.
I'm Jannica Morton.
Emily Francis, and you can follow me. Don't stalk me.
Yeah, and go learn lots of shit. Good shit. Epic
You
shit.
know you have followers. You don't know you have stalkers, and I definitely prefer to know who's following me.
Ooh, yes.
You'll learn about that.
Stalkers are terrifying.
You'll learn.
No, thank you.
Signing off.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Adios.